Hi, in this session we are going to see about the various options to dimension the sketches apart from the options we have seen in our previous chapters, and we will be seeing how we can create sketch fillers in Creo, and we'll be discussing about how we can create a user-defined coordinate system, and we'll be seeing how we can create the splines and the different ways of dimensioning and modifying the splines, and we will be seeing how we can create the text inside the Creo sketcher mode, and we can see how we can move and resize the sketch entities. We can see how we can copy the sketches, and finally we'll be seeing how we can import the 2D drawings and how to modify it and how we can use those sketches for creating the parts. Let us see how we can dimension the sketch. And in our previous chapters we have seen various ways of creating the dimension using the normal option, and here we are going to see how we can create the baseline dimensioning using the baseline tool, and we will be discussing about how we can replace the dimensions also. In baseline dimensioning, the location or position of all the sketch entities will be derived or referenced from the common base. So in general there will be two baselines, one is vertical baseline and another one is horizontal baseline, as you see here in the figure 3. So the vertical baseline will be a common reference for all the vertical dimensions, and the horizontal baseline will be a common reference for all the horizontal dimensions. Here we have the baseline tool with the dimension group. Let us see an example. So let us go back to Creo, and here you can see the sketch is something similar to what we have seen in figure 3, and here you can see this is a horizontal baseline and this is a vertical baseline. As you see, all other dimensions are referenced from these two baselines, and these baselines are at 0 0, so it means that it is the origin, and all other dimensions are referenced from this vertical and horizontal baselines. So let us see how we can create this kind of baseline dimension. So let me delete all the sketches and let me create a sketch which is similar to that, something similar to that. So a vertical line, I can create the sketches. I can create the sketch something similar to this, or can create a sketch in any ways. So here we have a baseline tool under the dimension group, so I can click baseline. So first we need to choose the baseline references, so just you can click on select on this baseline. So as you just select this entity and use your middle mouse button, so here you can add the dimension for zeros, that is this horizontal line has been taken as the horizontal baseline, and again you can click on this vertical line and you can use your middle mouse button to create the vertical baseline dimension. So this baseline dimensions are taken as the baseline references, so it is created as 0.0. So then you can come out. So again now you can click on this normal, and you can just first choose the baseline dimension, then start selecting other entities. So as I select all these entities and use your middle mouse button somewhere here, and you can see all the vertical dimensions have been added, which is referenced from this common vertical baseline. So you can come out. Again you can click on normal. So first choose the baseline dimension and you can start selecting this horizontal entities, and you can use your middle mouse button, so it has added the horizontal dimensions which is referencing from the horizontal baseline. So once the dimensions are placed, you will not be able to delete this origin dimensions. If you just select the dimensions and press the delete button, you will not be able to delete these dimensions unless you select all other dimensions. So let me just delete all these dimensions so that I will be able to delete the origin. So now if you choose, you will be able to delete this origin. So once again let us click on this baseline tool, and instead of selecting an lines, if I choose a point, for example I am choosing this end point, I want this to be a origin, so that the vertical line will be considered as a vertical base and the horizontal line will be considered as a horizontal baseline. If I just click on this point and use my middle mouse button somewhere here, you can see the dimension orientation dialog box appears. Since I have selected the point, and vertical and horizontal both dimensions can be added to a point, so here you need to choose whether you want it to be a vertical dimension or you want to add a horizontal dimension. So if you want to add a horizontal dimension, here you can choose on the horizontal dimension, click on accept, so it creates the horizontal dimensions. So the same concept applies even for any sketch entities when you dimension using the normal button. So this is all about the baseline tool, and now let us see how we can replace the dimension. So let me delete the sketch entities. So let me create one simple rectangular, and once again just let me create two lines from here to here. Here you can see, so let me just make this dimension strong, given 16, and let me make this dimension also strong, I'll say 6. So now suppose if I want to add a dimension from instead of 6, I want to add the dimension from this vertical line to this vertical line. So since I made this strong as 6 as a strong dimension, I have to delete this dimension and then add the dimension from here to here. So in this kind of situation, we can go for replace tool, which will help you to avoid deleting this dimension and to add this dimension. So you can just select this dimension 6 and you can right click and you can click on replace. So just now select the dimension which you wanted to be replaced. So select these two entities and use your middle mouse button. So you can see here the dimension 6 is deleted and the dimension 6 is replaced with the dimension 10. So this way we can avoid deleting the dimensions and adding it. So this way you can just replace the dimensions whichever is needed as needed. So let me delete all these entities. So next let us see how we can create fillets. There are two types of fillets. We can create circular fillets. We can also create elliptical fillet. So first let us discuss about the circular fillets. As you see here the pictures, we can create circular fillets in two ways. So we can create a fillet at a point where two lines are joining, and even we can create fillet where the two lines don't join, as you see in figure 4. So let us see a simple example here. So let me draw a lines as shown in figure. So I'll just create two lines which is connected, and let me create another two lines which is not connected at a common point, can be anywhere. Or let me delete these entities, we can come for that entities later. So here we have an option for creating fillets. You can see circular and elliptical. So first let me choose circular. So here I can choose, just select the two lines and then use your middle mouse button, or even you no need to use your middle mouse button. So it creates a fillet as shown in here in figure, and you can see as the symbol T applies here, T is visible here, it has created a fillet arc which is tangent to both the lines. And let me create another two lines which is not joining at a point, like this. So here just click on the fillet option, and here you can choose, again you can choose these two lines, and you can see here it has added the fillet as how we have seen in the previous example. So let me delete all these entities. Let us go back to our presentation. As you see here in figure 8 and 9, the fillets even can be created even between the arcs. So let us see another example. So let us see a simple example. So here you can consider the example as shown here. There are two sets of arcs about the center line. So here by using this fillet or circular fillet, here you can just add a fillet by selecting these two circular arcs endpoint. You can see as you choose the two endpoints here, you can see it is created in circular fillet, and which is tangent to both the arcs as we created. This way we can create an circular fillet by selecting the endpoints. So let me just undo the option what I've done earlier, and again let me choose on circular, and here instead of choosing the endpoints, even you can choose the point somewhere on the arc. For example, as I shown, just click somewhere on the arc, and you can see it has created the circular fillet and it has trimmed the unwanted portions. So this way we can even create the circular fillets by selecting an arc, not only the endpoints. And let us go back to our presentation here, and and let us see how we can create elliptical fillets. You can see here the arc in figure 12 shows the arc, something similar to what we have seen now, and you can create a elliptical fillet either with the major axis or the minor axis as shown in figure 13. So let us go back to Creo. So let me delete all these entities. So just consider the same sketch which we have created for a circular fillet. You can choose the elliptical and you can choose the two arcs. You can see it has added the elliptical fillet here. So you can see here, and we will be able to create an elliptical fillet as shown here in figure 13. So let us see how we can create the user-defined coordinate system. So there are two types of coordinate systems as we discussed even in our earlier previous chapters. So one is construction coordinate system and the geometric coordinate system. So the difference is the construction entities or the construction coordinate system can't be referenced outside the sketcher environment, and the geometric entities can be referenced outside the sketcher environment. And this creating user-defined coordinate systems are very much useful when we work with the blend features to align the different sections to at the same origin or at the same coordinate system. So let us see how we can create the first. Let us see how we can create the construction coordinate system. So here you have under sketching group you have a coordinate system icon, which is by which you can create the construction coordinate system. Here under datum you have another coordinate system which is a geometric coordinate system. So just by clicking on that option you can choose wherever you want to create the user-defined coordinate system. So just clicking on the middlemost button. So let me come out of this. So this way we can create the user-defined coordinate system as needed. And let us see how we can create the spline and also how we can add the dimensions to the endpoints, that is to start and end point of the spline. And also we'll see how we can add the radius of curvature dimensioning. So in order to give a radius of curvature dimension, the spline to be tangent to your entity, and to add a tangency or angular dimensioning, the same concept applies here also. The spline to be tangent to your line, and we'll see how we can add a coordinate system and we can dimension the spline from the coordinate system. So then we can add the dimensions to the interpolation points. So let us take an example here. So let me draw a spline. Spline is nothing but a smooth curve created by connecting the points. So the point and the curvature will be tangent to each other. So just let me choose the points randomly here. Okay, and you can see as I draw the sketch, as I draw the spline, it has added the dimensions, endpoint dimensions, that is to start point and the end point. So you can edit these values as needed, or you can keep the same values just for a try. You can say 250, and let's go back to Creo. And let us see how we can add the radius of curvature dimension as we discussed. So to add the radius of curvature dimension, the spline to be tangent to any entity. So let me create a line, simple line here, and we can add a tangency relationship between this line and the spline by using the constraint here. So you can choose this curve and the line. So you can see the spline becomes tangent to the line, and now just click on the normal option. So you can just by clicking on this tangent point you will be able to add the radius of curvature dimension to the spline what we have created now. And in order to add the angular or tangency dimensions, again just click on the normal option. So you have to choose the spline first, then you can click on the line, and you can click on this interpolation point and use your middlemost button. So the tangency or angular dimension of the spline has been added as discussed. And you can add dimensions to the interpolation points also. So let me choose this line and click one of this interpolation point, and I click here. As I use my middlemost button, you can see it has automatically added the vertical and horizontal dimensions from the point to the interpolation point. So let me delete all the sketch entities and let me go back to our presentation. So we have seen all these options like, and let us see how we can modify a spline. So we can modify the spline by using the by moving the points of a spline, and even we can add or delete the interpolation point, and we can delete, and we can create a control polygon. By moving the control polygon we can control the shape of the spline, and also we can modify the dimensions of the spline. So let us go back to Creo. So let me create another spline as needed. So just double click the spline. So here you can see the different options available here So here you can see, you will be able to see this interpolation points very clearly. So if you, by just moving this interpolation point, you will be able to edit or modify the shape of this spline. So you can just click and you can drag the interpolation points. So you'll be able to adjust the spline shape. And if you want to add an interpolation point, you can just click where you want to add the interpolation point. You can just select there and you can click, right click and choose add point. You can see the interpolation point will be added at the specific point. So if you want to delete any of the interpolation point, you can just move the cursor near the interpolation point and you can right click and choose delete point from the context menu, and you will be able to delete the interpolation point. So then if you want to still control it, you can move these interpolation points as needed. And here we have an option for creating a polygon control. So just click on this option. Here you can see it has created a polygon. By moving this polygon points, again you will be able to modify the shape of the spline what we have created. So you can move it in any way. As you move, you can see the spline is getting adjusted. And here you have an option for analyzing your curvature, that is the curvature of the spline. So how good the curvature of the spline. You can just click and you can see here, and here you can just scale up if you want, and here you can adjust the density of the curvature check. You can, if you zoom in, and you can see it has created the another curvature. So you can just, by moving this spline, you'll be able to see how smooth the curvature is formed. And by adjusting this wheel, you will be able to adjust the density of the curvature, of the flow line in the curvature. So as you zoom here, you can see a lines here which will show the flow or the curvature direction, and it will show how smooth the curvature is. So by moving this interpolation points, so you can click on this, you can see how good the curvature is formed. If you want to just see the change the density of these lines, again you can enter the different value here. So it enters, so you can see how good the curvature is formed here. So since the lines between these two curvatures are smooth, so the curvature of the spline what we created is also good. So once done, you can just click on OK and you can come out of the spline. So this way we can create the splines, and even you can edit the splines by adjusting or by modifying these dimensions as we discussed earlier. So this way we can create the splines and we can modify and play all around with the splines. So let us go back to our presentation. So next we'll be seeing how we can insert the text in Creo sketch environment. So let us go back to Creo. So let me delete all these entities. So here we have an option called text which will help us to insert the text. So just click and you can click the start point, and you can draw a vertical line by which you will be defining the height of the text what we are going to create. So just click. As you see here, the text dialog box opens here, and here you can write your text what you wanted to add. You can see as I'm just writing a smart learning, and here you can just move this bar, you can see how the text is created. And here if you want to insert a symbol, you can just choose a symbol which you want to insert, and that particular symbol will be added along the text. And here you can, by using this font, you can choose the different font size available. Whatever the font you want, you can choose it here. And here this is the alignment. If you want it to be left, right, center, you can play all around. And this is the vertical alignment, whether you want it to be in the bottom or middle or top. So here this is the aspect ratio for the length and width. So you can just control the length and width of the text by controlling the aspect ratio value. And this is the slant angle. So if you want the text to be italic or it should be in slanted, so you can control this value also, and just say OK. So the particular text will be added. And here we can add this text along a curve also. So just let me create a curve, circular curve or any shape of the curve. So let me say OK, and again let me click on text option. So you can click text. So let me just draw a line to specify the height of the text, and here I can again write whatever the text I want. And here we have an option to create the text along the curve. So just let me choose place along the curve, and you need to select the curve. So you can see the text comes along the curve, and here by flipping the direction you can even flip the position of the text. So just let me say OK. So this way we can create the text along the curve also, or along vertical line, or vertically or the horizontally. So let me delete all these entities. So let us go back to our presentation. So next let us see how we can rotate and resizing entities. And in our previous chapter we have discussed about inserting the different sketch profiles from the sketch palette. So during that time we have seen about this option. So once again here we will discuss about the same. So here let me create a simple rectangle. So just select the entity, and you can, here we have an option for rotate and resize. So just click rotate resize. So you can see, as we discussed in our previous chapters, here you can specify an angle, or you can just rotate this handle to rotate it at any angle as you need. And here you can enter the scale values, like as how you want it to be increased. So let me choose 2. So you can see as I enter the value, it has increased, it has scaled up the sketched entities by another 1 mm. So once done, so you can click on OK. So the scales are scaled up now. So let us go back to our presentation. So here next let us see how we can import the 2D drawings in the sketch mode. So let's go back to Creo. So let me delete the sketch entities, or we can even retain the sketch entities. You can import the 2D sketches by just clicking on file system under the get data. So you can click on this file system. You can see the sketches whatever is available in your WIP, so the working directory will be displayed here. So you can choose any sketch which you want to insert. So let me choose figure 3.3. Can click on open. So you can just click the base point where you want to insert the sketch. So at that base point the sketch has been created. So again, if you want to change the base point of the sketch, you can just click, or you can drag this, so you can change it. So wherever you want to attach, you will be able to attach. So this is the base point for attaching the sketch. And once again here, if you want to rotate it, you can just rotate about the base point. So this way we can import any sketches. Particularly it will be very much helpful when we insert the DWG files, that is the drawing file from the AutoCAD. And here you can see these are all the file formats which can be imported to inside the Creo Parametric sketch mode. And next let us work on few projects.